Our time is definitely not on our side, thanks to that technical glitch, thanks to that load shedding. We are now so running behind the schedule. Without any further ado, Matuba, let's try and see how much discussion and time can we save for the rest of the show. Without any further ado, DSTV Premiership news. Surely, I believe you do have a big scoop for us.
Yo, I've got a big scoop, and by the way, let's just highlight the listeners first that the transfer window came to an end yesterday. So there were some breaking news that came in numbers. The first one was Thembinko Siloj. Surprisingly, the Orlando Pirates midfielder, a scoop and a half, whereby we received the news in the afternoon that he's officially a Mamelodi Sundowns player. So very interesting, because this is a player who did well for Orlando Pirates ever since he started playing for them in 2015, and he was scoring goals. I remember he was on fire when Pirates were coached by Milton Sredicevic, assisted by Rulani Mokoena, and guess what? He's going to join Rulani Mokoena as Mamelodi Sundowns, which means they know at least they had a relationship at Orlando Pirates. Yes. So question is, will he be able to play? We'll have to wait and see, but I think he stand a chance of going to play. Just like at first when Ronan Williams joined Mamelodi Sundowns, majority of us thought he was not going to play, but you look at what, he's been a regular. And Denis Onyango, Riyad Peters, Ricardo Gos, even he went on loan because of lack of game time. He went to SuperSport United, but those two, they're currently not playing. Ronan Williams, absolutely fantastic. You're still going to talk Bafana as well. So, but then it's a good move for Thembinko Siloj, judging from how we spoke off air about how things were not going well at Orlando Pirates. Off the pitch matters, as well as himself as well.
So surely Orlando Pirates faithful, they're devastated to learn about those news that Thembinko Siloj has dumped them for Mamelodi Sundowns.
Maybe it might be that he wants to win a league title, because he's never won a league title ever since he played for Orlando Pirates, despite the official trophies that they've won, yes. But the only medal that is missing is the league title, as well as the CAF Champions League. And maybe, who knows, it might be the right move for him to go to Mamelodi Sundowns and get a silverware as well, as far as the DSTV Premiership is concerned, or CAF Champions League, because judging from Mamelodi Sundowns, they've really are signing players. We also saw that also signed the player from Chippa United, Sukom Dunyelwa, as the right back. Remember, there were rumors speculating that Kuliso Modau might go abroad. So England, yes.
Burnley,
maybe,
I believe Burnley.
That's Burnley, true, yes. So let's see if that move will be able to happen. But now the transfer window is reached, and hopefully maybe next season, by the looks of things. And in other transfer news that came in, where we saw that Stellenbosch and if I can just let the distance on this one, Steve Barker, he was the coach of the month for November and December, as well as Ikram Reyners. He was
Ikram
Reyners, the man who won for 400. For how can I put this one? 400,000 for Callum Black Label.
100,000 man of the match, Callum Black Label. Ikram Reyners.
Indeed, and speaking of Thembinko Siloj, they're also signings as well as Tashrik Matthews, as well as Matthias Isquevel. So you can see that Mamelodi Sundowns are signing attacking players. So I think they mean business, and they're also looking at the CAF Champions League, because when we come back from DSTV Premiership, the resumption of this wonderful AFCON break, they will be having congestion of fixtures as far as the DStv Premiership is concerned, CAF Champions League, as well as Nedbank Cup. And as we spoke last week about the last 32, which will be kickstarting on the 20th of February. So also Amazulu, they announced that they've parted ways with Spesihle Maduna, the midfielder, and then they also announced Augustine Mulenga. Remember at some point he played for Orlando Pirates, and he went for a short stint at Chippa United, but things didn't go according to plan. So he's back at Amazulu. So they mean business as well. So let's see, because the likes of Victor Swallow are not giving enough, and he's not playing as well. So although I saw him during the Canning Black Label at Peter Mokaba, so I think Pablo Martin wants to improve up front, because this is where Amazulu were lacking when I watched them the entire season. Also, Cape Town City, they've announced a striker there by the name of Prince Melelik Jueza, who's from Namibia. So because when I watched them, they didn't sign so many. They only had Kanye Samayo as well as Jacqueline Pasensia, only 2 strikers. So they needed more, because you can see that Eric Schindler, before this wonderful break in take place, he was doing well. I remember at some point he won 6 matches unbeaten, just like his neighbors Stellenbosch. Hence we see Steve Kobaka becoming the coach of the month for his club there. So, and also Orlando Pirates, once again, they also parted ways with their striker Benvenu Ivanga, who's just joined Chippa United as well. And guess what? They've just signed Thabiso Libiso from the very same Chippa United. So I think it was a swap deal by the looks of things. And then they also went on to SuperSport to sign a player called Talent Mbata. So I think he's following in the footsteps of Patrick Masanganye. Remember Patrick Masanganye? He was a SuperSport player there as well. So it looks good up to so far. But the question is, will he be able to play? Because Orlando Pirates have got class players, a lot of players, and some of them, they are crying for game time. So let's see if that move will happen. And then, by the way, Sofasa Mabas is also back at Orlando Pirates. As we spoke about the crisis at Solos. So, and we know Orlando Pirates were struggling up front. So I think his services will definitely be key for Solos going into next season. And then Mamelodi Sundowns also announced that Gift Motupa, the striker, has parted ways with Gift Motupa. So question is, will he be able to go to Orlando Pirates, or will he get the other team? We'll have to wait and see. This is a former Baroka player, or he will go back to Foundation. Very interesting on that one, so I'll be looking into that one as well. So, and also Kaizer Chiefs, they've just extended the contract of Bruce Voma on 2 years. So I think he's been doing well. We've seen, especially when Kevin Johnson took over as a head coach. So things are going well for him so far. So also, Cape Town Spurs, they've just announced another player. We spoke about Spesihle Maduna joining the club as well from Amazulu, and he's just joined Ensmidendorp at Cape Town Spurs alongside Michael Kamangi there from Singida Fountain Gate there. So hopefully they'll try to improve as soon as possible going into the second round. So also there was a player called Kamohelo Matlatsi who once played for Kaizer Chiefs as well as Moroka Solos. So news coming in is that he will be joining Chippa United. So let's see if that move will go further, because speaking of Chippa United, they also their ban, you remember they were banned from signing players. The ban was lifted up. So currently it's it's Royal AM. Royal AM, they find themselves into that story once again, because remember they had the issues with Samir Nukovic. Now currently it is Ricardo Nascimento, the former Mamelodi Sundowns. So I remember in his first game with the very same Royal AM, he scored against Kaizer Chiefs. You can go back up to last season where he scored as early as the second minute of the game. So they are unable to pay the player. So I don't know, Mamkiza and Lempisane, they need to fix their house in order, because remember they were not doing well. At some point he went on to play inside the pitch, and Lempisane when they were thrashed 3-0 by Amazulu. I remember Coach Ensmidendorp stated that this is a joke. Why can't owners like Kizam Taung Jr. or Bobim Taung enter into the pitch and play? So, and it was so trending on the social networks. So I think they need to fix their house in order, because currently John Maduka is not doing well, and they are seated amongst the likes of Richards Bay as well as the very same Cape Town Space. So they need to work, pick their office in order. So, and then rumors are also coming in that Keloso Magala, who was the Mamelodi Sundowns midfielder, is currently in Appington FC as well, and Swallows as well, by the way. There's rumors that he might sign a pre-contract with Kaizer Chiefs. We'll have to wait and see on that one.
Oh, absolutely. That is great news indeed as far as Makhwala is concerned. Still with the Kaizer Chiefs, except extending a Bruce Voma's contract and promoting Vilakazi from the junior side to the senior team. So Kaizer Chiefs, they haven't made any acquisitions. They haven't signed anything.
They haven't signed anyone, and I was questioning that, because Kaizer Chiefs, for me, when I watch them, they need creativity. They like creativity. They are also one of the strikers hasn't impressed me as far as Jason Gonzalez. So at some point you can play a match without touching the ball. Although Rangachiva, Viro, Ashley Dupree, they're trying their best, but I thought they could have worked on these two departments which are lacking for me.
Now, moving away from local football, there is a DSTV Premiership and go all the way to West Africa, and we land at Ivory Coast. That's where the Africa Cup of Nations is taking place. What's happening in as far as Africa Cup of Nations is concerned, Madiba?
I'll start with the final group standings as far as the teams that qualified automatically before the teams that were given a second chance. So
second chance or backdoor?
They call it a backdoor, so it's very fashionable. You reminded me of when Mamelodi Sundowns were participating in CAF Champions League when they were coached by Pitso Mosimane. They were knocked out of the CAF Champions League. When later on, they were the team that knocked them out was banned from participating in CAF because there were some. And players were not registered. So they were. CAF decided to Mamelodi Sundowns must come back. So the fans, it was so trending the social media stating that it is a backdoor. Even Pitso Mosimane came in and announced that fans are saying my team came through a backdoor. So we can call it a backdoor. So far the teams that came through the backdoor, one may call it as they are the top
backdoor, man.
Backdoor. So as they came, all the top threes were. If I can just break it into pieces for the fans, then the listeners. So all the top three were compared. Which one has the better points difference as well as the goal difference? So Guinea were finished first. Mauritania, Cote d'Ivoire, the hosts, as you know, they were thrashed heavily. They were embarrassed 4-0 by Equatorial Guinea. Were part of the top four, as well as Namibia.
Our neighbors.
Namibia, our neighbors, the one we thrashed 4-0, by the way. So I think that downfall was that game against South Africa. So at least they've got a second chance to redeem themselves. And speaking of that, once again, some of the teams that finished within the top two. So we've got us in Group A, we've got Equatorial Guinea, as well as Nigeria. In Group B, we've got Cape Verde and Egypt. In Group C, we've got Senegal, Cameroon. In Group D, we've got Angola and Burkina Faso. And then in Group E, we've got Mali and South Africa. And lastly, in Group F, there's Morocco and Congo DR. So in terms of the fixtures of the last 16, and by the way, they are taking place today, we've got Nigeria up against Cameroon.
That's a cracker.
It looks like a final before final for me.
Exactly.
I remember in the past, Nigeria used to, Cameroon used to dominate Nigeria, but when the tables were turned around 2004, Nigeria started to come to the party. So when I watch them, it's a team which doesn't concede so many goals. They don't score many goals. I remember they won 1-0 against Ivory Coast, and the other last game 1-0. So if teams want to play in Cameroon, I should say Nigeria, you must make sure that you don't concede. And when you get Nigeria, how they were thrashed by Senegal 3-1, they need to be careful at the back. So the game kickstart at 7 o'clock. And then there's also Angola up against Namibia. So Angola did so well for me during the knockout stages. So I'm not surprised when they finished top of the Group D. So they are playing against the team that came through a backdoor by the looks of things, Namibia. Let's see if Peter Shalulile maybe wants to redeem himself by getting a goal. John Hott has been doing well for me. So that's why I'm saying their only downfall was that defense at the back. They were let down by conceding 4 goals against Bafana. Maybe they would have qualified if they got the draw against us. So, but Bafana as well did well in that game. So tomorrow there's Equatorial Guinea, the one that thrashed Ivory Coast 4-0. They are playing the Guinea, so it's a battle for Guinea. So one looks at this wonderful fixture at 7 o'clock, and then there's Egypt up against the DR Congo at 10 o'clock. On Monday we've got Cape Verde up against Mauritania at 7 o'clock. The Cape Verde also impressed me as well. So I remember they also beat Ghana in their group. So it was so interesting. So we also have Senegal up against Cote d'Ivoire. So it's a final before final as well. So and Senegal, you see, they're the defending champions. So Ivory Coast needs to be careful. Failure to win this one, I think the fans will be unhappy. And by the way, they got rid of their coach because of he couldn't qualify to the group stages. So they just brought in the old coach who won the AFCON with them. The one who used to wear a white shirt.
Have Reinhardt.
Yes, I wanted that name. So he will be in charge of this team as an interim coach. So hopefully after this wonderful AFCON, they will decide whom are they going to appoint going forward. So on Tuesday we've got Morocco up against South Africa. A hell of a game. Remember last year we played them twice. They won 2-1. We won 2-1 when we were dedicating the game. I think we did here in studio to our very own deceased Clive Barker. So we won 2-1. I remember Zakaria Lepasa was also one of the goal scorers, and alongside Percy Tau. So and also another game, Mali up against Burkina Faso. Mali, when I watched Mali, they're very physical. So Burkina Faso, they need to do. They impressed me as well. So they qualified on the last day. So they need to do well going forward. But I'm interested because they're playing a decent football when one watched them. There's this other player called Bertrand Traore who's impressed me as well. So Mali, as they drew against Namibia and Tunisia, they need to be careful as well.
They need to be careful indeed. Looking at the knockout games that are getting underway this afternoon, surely doesn't get any bigger and better. You can't ask for a bigger and a better draw than the Cameroon versus Nigeria. If we look at the stats in as far as the Africa Cup of Nations is concerned, we see that Nigeria, they've won the Africa Cup of Nations 3 times, while Cameroon have done that 5 times. So surely it's going to be a mouth-watering
thrilling encounter.
West Africa affair.
Yeah,
it's a West Africa affair. It is a derby after all. They are the big giants. They are physical, both of typical West African sides. Talking of physical, let's hear what the Cameroonian striker had to say. That is Faris Mamboka about the physicality that can be anticipated in the Nigeria versus Cameroon game that will take place. That will get the knockout stages underway come this evening. That is 7 o'clock this evening. Let's hear what Faris Mambonga had to say from Cameroon.
One altogether, the foreigners and the foreign players who plays in Europe, who are not born in Cameroon, and the ones born and raised in Cameroon. It's the same blood. It's one unit, and don't misunderstand what he said. We don't take it the same way. So yeah, it's just about the Cameroon national team, and we all defend it as one.
Oh, there was Faris Mambonga from Cameroon. He spoke about foreign-based players versus local-based players. Talking of that is a Cameroon for you. Surely that is not a surprise, considering that there is a big talking point versus in the goalkeeping department, the drama caused by Andre Onana. So surely there might be some challenges brewing in the Cameroon campaign as far as local players versus foreign-based players.
Indeed, and if you can check in the last game, they played another goalkeeper. They made a change as we have speaking.
Ondoa,
we've been saying that he must be sacrificed because they need points. Unfortunately, they managed to win that game, although it was tough. So I think they'll have to stick with the same goalkeeper. Failure to do that, they'll find themselves losing that match because Andre Onana, when I watched him, he's not concentrating. That's the only problem, and you can't do that against the team of Nigeria.
Yeah, because
if they score one, they might lose the shop and go all the way to the quarterfinals. So no mistake.
And then still with the Cameroon side, the news that have been coming out of the Cameroon camp is that their coach Rigobert Song is at a loggerheads with his bosses, that is Emmanuel Ed, who's heading the federation. I don't know whether you've been following that story. And it is all about Andre Onana. I believe it is all about should Andre Onana be part of the squad or be sent back packing to England.
The only part that I heard is that if Rigobert Song was unable to qualify for the knockout stages, because I could see the picture. I saw one of the pictures where Samuel Eto'o wasn't happy. So
Yes.
And there were rumors speculating that he'll definitely dismiss Rigobert Song because he's struggling. But on the day, he surprised them by winning that match, although it was a tough match.
Oh, it was a tough match indeed. So as the tonight's match is going to be a tough one indeed. So the big question is, come tonight's game, Cameroon versus Nigeria. Should Cameroon be dumped out of the 2024 Africa Cup of Nations version? Will Rigobert Song be fired? What is going to happen? Should the new coach come in to Cameroon camp? Will they consider using Andre Onana? Because if you ask me, Andre Onana, he is the root cause of the instability as far as the Cameroon camp is concerned, because the fight between Rigobert Song and Samuel Eto'o, it revolves around Andre Onana's inclusion. So for me, Andre Onana is nothing but a trouble in as far as Cameroon football is concerned. Then coming back to our fixture, Tuesday fixture, Bafana Bafana versus Morocco. Yes, Bafana Bafana, they did well qualifying for the knockout stages, but come on, surely it's not a good move to go on and pick Morocco for your knockout stages.
It's a tough one by the looks of things, and remember they finished first in their group stage, Group F there. So they defeated teams like Tanzania 3-0, Zambia, I should say 1-0. So they also played a draw against DR Congo. So they will come confident. You can see that they are a free scoring team. In their 3 matches, they scored the goals. And you look at Bafana, they are yet to score a goal against Mali as well as the last match against Senegal. So so many question marks. As I've stated it before. Why did you leave the top strikers at home? Ikram Rinas, Kanyesa Mayo, and the very same Tsofatso Mabasa and Pratlo Grobler. At least he could have sacrificed three strikers by bringing them at AFCON in Ivory Coast. Maybe we could have done better, because currently you can see that he's relying from the midfield to get those goals. So, and as also again, he's very predictable with his play, as he didn't change the lineup that defeated, in fact, that
Namibia.
played goalless. Yeah, that defeated Namibia. He didn't change it when he played Tunisia. So that's where I felt. We don't have strikers on the bench. We don't have options on the back. So he's so predictable. So you don't need to sleep up against a team of Morocco. So failure to do that, if they are to score first, definitely we'll lose the match. But I'll go with them for now. I think we can stretch the game maybe to extra time for me.
I'm happy you mentioned that discussion that we are a little bit thin in as far as the striking force is concerned. That reminds me of that discussion that's been doing the rounds on the social media. The fans talking about our number 9.
Evidence Makgopa.
Evidence Makgopa. There's been a big discussion on social media surrounding his performance and everything. What is your take in as far as Evidence Makgopa getting into the starting lineup? Do you understand his role, his performance? What's your take surrounding Evidence Makgopa?
I also had some bit of arguments with the fans at the social media. So I was saying he's giving nothing to the country. It's not Bafana material. So majority of fans were against me, where that he's putting pressure of the fact that whenever he holds on to the ball, he allows players like Pesitao and Tembazwane to push inside the box and get the goals for us. But even against Tunisia, yes, at some point they were saying that there is no supply. But for me, it's not that type of a player who can take defenders on. That's the problem I'm having with him. Just like that Zakaria Lepasa, who is off form. So for me, I'm not convinced about his performance so far. So because we are relying from our midfield, and if Pesitao, Tembazwane don't come to the party, I think we will struggle.
You mentioned Pesitao coming to the party. In as far as this tournament is concerned, has Pesitao come to the party?
So far, I would say no, because when I watched him against Malawi, he was playing with his heart. Hence, he missed the penalty, and that penalty took the concentration out of him. So against Namibia, I wasn't convinced as well. So, but at least he was so brave to take that penalty for us to take the lead 1-0. So after missing the penalty, so it's not easy. Another player would have said, no, I won't be able to take that penalty. So, but he was
So,
but for him, it was so brave to take the penalty and make sure that we capitalize on the other chances, as the goalkeeper Lord Kazapu made some few blunders as we are taking in terms of ball handling. So we capitalized on that. Also, against Tunisia, I wasn't impressed because we are playing on transition. So transition has to be quicker, release the ball on time. That is the downfall of him that I couldn't see with Pesitao. So he must just work on that, going to play a team of Morocco, because they're stretching, they're pressing. So yeah, it's going to be interesting on Wednesday, but I wasn't impressed up to so far.
That is our sports analyst, Motiba Peta, saying that he's definitely not impressed with the current Pesitao's performance in as far as Africa Cup of Nations is concerned. Still, with the individual performance, there's been a big discussion in as far as Bafana's anchor player is concerned. That is Pelele Stole. What is your take on his performance? I've seen the likes of your Dr. Kumalo talking about him. I've seen the likes of Thabo Sinong, the former under-23 national team, talking about him. What is your take on Pelele Stole, his role and his style of play?
I think for me, he's not consistent with his performance. If he can just work on that performance consistency, he's a good player for me, because against Mali and Namibia, I couldn't see him much. But against Tunisia, he was impressive, alongside the very same Tembazwane, who got 2 major of the matches back-to-back accolades. So he must just work on his consistency. He's a good player for me. So if he can work on that consistency, I think we can be able to defeat some of the other teams. Because you look at players like Tebogo Mokoena, they're giving their all. So it's all about him to work on consistency, just like Tebogo Mokoena.
You mentioned Tembazwane doing well. You mentioned Tebogo Mokoena doing well. Most people are saying the reason your Tebogo Mokoena, the reason your Tembazwane are shining in the midfield, it is because of Pelele Stole doing all the dirty work for them. And by Pelele Stole staying behind, doing all the dirty work, being that wall between the midfield and the defense, that allows or sets the platform for Tebogo Mokoena and Tembazwane to be comfortable going forward,
yes.
and knowing that Pelele Stole has got their back.
Indeed. So yeah, hence I'm saying he must just work on consistency. Then they'll be able to have more freedom even when we are going to play Morocco on Tuesday. So yeah, it's up to so far. Yeah, if it's a matter of consistency performance, then we'll do well going forward.
We'll do well going forward, and consistent in the Tuesday's game against Morocco. Still with that game, what is your take on that? That game is going to be a cracker. Surely Bafana, that are going to be the underdogs come Tuesday evening. What is your take? What can we anticipate in that Bafana Morocco game?
Indeed, you snooze, you lose. So my only concern is at right back. Remember, Khuliso Mudau is injured, so he got injured against the VSM Tunisia. I saw they were stamping on his ankle a lot.
About 3 times.
About 3 times in the game. So I wasn't impressed with how those players, the Tunisian players, were very
targeting him.
Physical, and at the same time trying to fake injuries where they will always go down easily. So hopefully Nico Mobi should come to the party as well, or if not, they may just sacrifice Tapelo Morena at the right back, because he's a versatile player. For me, he can play any position. So for me, that if Khuliso Mudau doesn't make it, obviously Nico Mobi with the other players, they can still remain the same. So Evidence Mahopa, they must make sure that they get the supply and also try to fight hard. So we mustn't play those predictable performances, standard situations. So it's not our culture, it's not our style. Although we know Bigo Bruce is not a high scoring coach, although he scored against Namibia, but he didn't score against Mali, didn't score against Tunisia. So we are playing against a free scoring team. We must just omit this thing of conceding goals. That's all, because it's going to be a crack of a game. Hence I'm saying I foresee extra time. So penalties might be a decider.
So in the Morocco game, I believe you say it's a question of Hugo Bruce should not mend it if it's not broken. He can only replace Mudau only if he is injured.
He's unable to pass elite fitness tests because he's got 4 days to recover ahead of that Tuesday match. Failure to do so, I think they can introduce Nico Mobi, although he was under pressure when he came in, because those Tunisians were piling on the pressure and they were just predictable in their attack. At some point, they stated that their coach doesn't have a plan. It's all crosses, long balls. So it was not working, because defensively we were solid. Ronald Williams as well, ball handling, very superb. At social media, I even stated that I'm giving credit to their local goalkeeper coach, Weldon Robinson, the former Solos goalkeeper, who did so well wonders with him, because he's maturing in each and every game when I watched him.
Oh, I fully concur with you. The way Ronwen Williams command his, especially his small box, the crosses, the corner kicks, he is so commanding. He gives his defense that comfort that whatever it is that is in my small box, I will definitely handle it. And the way he handles the ball, he handles them convincingly.
Exactly.
He doesn't have these softer fingers or Bambayega.
And the footwork as well is just class Marvel.
It's just Marvel.
When he starts the moves at the back.
And the good thing about Ronwen Williams, he knows how to kill time. He knows how to steal time, especially when Bafana need to employ time-wasting tactics. With Ronwen Williams is one of those best goalkeepers when it comes to time-wasting techniques.
I think it's similar WhatsApp group with Itumelong Kune. They are good at that.
Surely they must have.
Although with Kune, he likes falling on the floor. That's the problem. By chowing time.
Yeah, surely Ronwen Williams might and Itumelong Kune, they might have graduated from the same goalkeeping school. Time is definitely not on our side. But before we sign off, let's quickly dive. What's happening in as far as netball is concerned? Diving straight to that part of the sport.
Yeah, because before load shedding can disrupt us, we're talking about Netball Nations Cup, where we saw South Africa couldn't participate in. I tried to follow some reasons beyond that, so I couldn't find. So I do have results of the matches that took place last week. New Zealand won 65-60 against Uganda, and then England also won 61-59 against Australia, and then also Australia today they'll play Uganda, and then that's the fixtures there. England will host New Zealand there. Australia Uganda kicks off at 3 o'clock, England and New Zealand at 5 o'clock, and then also tomorrow there's a 3rd and 4th place for 2 o'clock, and then the final at 4:15. Let's see. Australia, as you know, Noma Plumbers country, they're always winning this kind of tournaments. So, and England as well. So, and Uganda, by the way, they defeated us in the World Cup when we were fighting for 5th and 6th place off. Hence they finished 5th and we finished 6th. So that's why they decided to sacrifice by calling them to come and replace our very own Proteas, South Africa, because they were not coming. So we are anticipating quite series as well. So, and also, by the way, speaking of South Africa, they still have to announce a head coach, because Nama Plumber has retired, and some of the other how can I put them, interim coaches like Jimson Chauke and Matha Muswatle candidates for that. So interviews are still in process. So let's wait and see going forward. So because we need a coach, and then hopefully there will be something. As Cecilia Molokwane stated that they also want to introduce the league. So let's wait and see if it will prosper by their wishes going forward.
Oh yes, indeed. We'll be following that story and see whether Netball South Africa do appoint the Proteas coach, as my colleague Modiba Peters rightfully mentioned that Noma Blama has retired. So Proteas, Spa Proteas are coachless at the moment. Unfortunately, time is definitely not on our side. It is our worst enemy. Modiba Peters, thank you very much for your time, for gracing our studios today.
It was good to be here, and to the listeners as well. Keep watching Nirvana World FM. Your beat, your music will bring them as they unfold. So yeah, I am Mutiba Johannes Peter, and it's a very good afternoon to you, the team behind the scenes, as well as the listeners.
Oh yes, there was Modiba Peter, our sports analyst. He was with us in the studio this afternoon in person. That's why we did not struggle with things like your network and stuff. Thank you very much, Modiba, for gracing our studios. Like I said, time is definitely not on our side. Let's do this once again next week, Saturday, same time, same place. That is between 11 o'clock and 1 p.m. Until then, I am Spanalong of Editors. Bye bye.
A very good afternoon.
Voila.